and hello and welcome on YouTube as well. Right, we'll get started. As you can see, I'm in a deserted office, so I am self-isolating as well, but not necessarily in my home. I come here, sit here on my desk all on my own for most of the day. Right, so just to introduce myself to those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Claire Jacklin. I'm the Chief Exec of the National Rheumatoid Arthritis Society. National Rheumatoid Arthritis Society, not easy to say, so we tend to say NRAS for short. We are the only patient organisation that focuses specifically on rheumatoid arthritis and juvenile idiopathic arthritis. So we're got a very keen focus. And of course, today our talk again is going to be about COVID-19. And from even last week, things have changed considerably. I just wanted to ask very quickly if you could give me a thumbs up or make a comment that you can hear me and I am coming across loud and clear. If somebody could just blurry here was okay when switching. Okay, so I believe I might be a little bit blurry. Sorry about that. I'm probably better in soft focus than HD, to be honest, but hopefully you can also hear me. Let me just see what comments are coming in. Yeah, everybody seems to be okay. Naturally, because of broadband connections, etc., and everybody working from home, you may experience some issues regarding your own wherever you are in the area. So sorry about that. It will be available to watch back as well as was last week's. So as you will appreciate, this is an incredibly confusing and anxious time for everyone, and things are changing, not daily, but almost hourly. And we're doing our very best here at NRAS to keep you as up to date and keep our information as up to date as possible. And because things are changing so quickly, it means that the information we had even just 1 week ago may also now have been superseded by new information that's come available. So it's really important that you keep looking at the website and seeing the most up-to-date information. I'll mention the website a few times during this broadcast. It's nras.org.uk/coronavirus. So hopefully you'll be getting that information there. Myself and my fantastic, wonderful, marvellous colleagues here at NRAS are doing our best, but we are not medically trained. And we are relying on governmental and scientific and clinical stakeholders to inform us of the latest developments and advice. And there have been, this is unprecedented. There are no protocols that were in existence to deal with the level of this sort of pandemic. So government and NHS and physicians and patient organisations like ourselves, we are all learning and reacting as quickly as possible to a very fluid situation. This said, as I said, that's why some of the information that you read last week or the week before may now have changed. So it's important that you do keep watching and keeping up to date. For the above reasons, it's essential that the information we provide through our website and on broadcasts like this are taken in general terms. Rheumatoid arthritis and juvenile arthritis are complex diseases, and they need equally complex treatments. Therefore, it is impossible and inappropriate for anyone to give individual medical advice unless they have full access to your medical records. So we can give general advice and give you general guidance, but it's really only your rheumatology team that will have full access to your medical history that can give you the precise information that some of you are reaching out for us to give. And we just can't do that. So the main questions. We've had over 150 questions already posted. Naturally, I'm not going to get through all of those today, but the main question that everybody's asking, and last week it was about self-isolation. Now we have this new term called shielding, and enhanced social distancing. And let's be very clear from the outset. We should, every single one of us, be doing our absolute best to be social distancing. Everybody, if they can stay home, should be staying home. But of course, some of you, depending on your medications, depending on the level of your disease, are going to be in a much higher risk than some others. But again, there is no hard and fast rule. And this is some of the questions that we've been getting, particularly around key workers, and key workers mostly in the NHS. So some of the data, some of the information we only put up just last night will hopefully give a little bit clarity. And that's something, I'm going to just hold it up really quickly there. This is on our website now. And it's the BSR's stratification of patients with autoimmune rheumatic diseases. And it kind of gives you a scoring as to where you are. Also, what we've shared is one consultant's interpretation of those scoring systems in a flow chart. So again, we've got that up on our website at the moment. And you basically look at what medications you're on, and then also what criteria. So if you are over 70, if you are on one or more of the medications in the blue box, which is all the immunosuppressant medications, and if you have been on, say, prednisolone as well for 4 weeks or longer, then you would be in the red box, the shielding. And I can't go through the whole thing on here, but please do have a look. And I do hope it will give some clarity as to, but again, as I said, that's one consultant's interpretation of those guidelines. There is no hard and fast rule. But for those people that are in that tricky position of being a key worker and wondering what is their level of exposure and risk, once you've gone through that system of looking at where you sit in with the general population of people with RA, it is still really important that you have that conversation with your line manager. We're not clear from those people that are reaching out to us saying that they're working in the NHS, whether they are, actually on wards, or whether they're in the administrative side of things, or whether they're in catering in the NHS, or there are so many different roles. So you have to really take time to speak to your line manager and say, is there a way that I can really operate enhanced social distancing to keep myself safe, but also keep those that I'm coming into action with as well? So it isn't an easy, straightforward question, but if somebody is on methotrexate and sulfasalazine and a biologic, according to the scoring, you would be in the high risk area. But again, you would need to speak to your line manager as to whether there's any accommodation that you could put in place that would give you that distancing, or at least be wearing all the protective clothing. There's lots of questions about why are some people being told by their GPs that they're at high risk and others aren't. And again, hopefully that information on our website will clarify it. It's not really just about what disease you have. It takes in a lot of other factors, the treatments that you're on, your age, and your other general health, whether you have any other comorbidities. But again, this is changing all the time. It's not a black and white question, and it won't get a black and white answer, I'm afraid. There's a lot of questions about who is going to get these letters and who is not. What's happening at the moment is GPs are looking at their records and looking at the coding. There is some discrepancy sometimes between primary care, your GP records, and your secondary care records. What is recorded in your secondary care, your hospital records, is relevant to the disease that they're treating there, as opposed to the GP. So it take a little bit of combining those records together to get the full picture. So I was speaking to a rheumatologist up in the north just yesterday, and she's spent, her and her team are going through their records for their rheumatology patients with a fine-tooth comb and trying to match, okay, who has comorbidities, what are their ages, what are their medications they're on, and then the rheumatology teams will be writing out to people that are in what we should call the shielding category. And that means really you should stay home for at least 12 weeks and not be interacting. If you can get other people to do the shopping for you, and in those letters that will be coming out, and some of you may have already received them if you are in that category, but they will be coming out between now and next Monday. So if you feel that you are in a high risk category, and you haven't received a letter, do try and contact your rheumatology team. It might be, again, some teams are bigger than others. They also are working often on the front line, and it may be taking some teams a bit longer to get through all those records. But in the letter, you will be given information about how to access the support that the government is talking about. Getting somebody to get your medications if you have to pick them up from a pharmacist or do some shopping, etc. So just give it a little bit more time if you haven't had the letter and you think you are in that high risk group, and then follow up with your rheumatology team. And I know that's not always that easy to get through to your rheumatology teams either, but again, do check out the information on the website that is as clear as it possibly can be at this point in time. But the safest course of action is to stay home at all times and avoid all face-to-face contact if you do think that you are in that very high-risk group. And as I'll just reiterate, it is more to do with what medications that you're on rather than just you have RA. My understanding is that all the rheumatology units are looking at their lists and identifying those people, and it will take a little while. There's been quite a few questions about home care deliveries and supply chains. Will there be any shortage of medicines? At this point in time, and I was on the call this morning to one of the major home care companies, the home care delivery companies, and there is no cause for alarm at this point. There are no problems with supplies. And in fact, they said because everybody's at home, all their deliveries are being delivered pretty much on time. They've improved their ratings there. And of course, there's not as much traffic on the road. So the delivery drivers are getting through and being able to deliver on time. And all the delivery drivers have been given training about social distancing, etc. And again, they've got their frequently asked questions document up on their website, as have the other home care companies as well. So at this point in time, no need for concern at all on that. A question that was raised last night. Currently, this is somebody, I'm currently on a drug for rheumatoid arthritis called hydroxychloroquine, which many of you will have heard about on the news, which I understand is being administered to some COVID-19 patients. There is some thought that hydroxychloroquine might have an influence, and this person but it's too early to say at this point. But the question is, would it be prudent for the authorities to assess the impact of COVID-19 on such patients as myself currently taking this drug? And that leads me on nicely to let you all know about a global research study So hopefully some of you will have seen this on our Twitter feed, on social media, on our website, etc. We're really strongly encouraging every single one of you to participate in this patient registry that is going to feed in all this information from across the globe, so that we will get a far better, clearer understanding of how rheumatology patients are being impacted by COVID-19. So please, please, please do click on the link. It's a short patient questionnaire, but it will make a huge difference to the understanding of the treatments, etc. So please do that. Another question that came in was, there's been talk about Roactemra, and the person has actually said an anti-TNF Roactemra. Actually, it isn't an anti-TNF. It is a biologic drug, but it's an IL-6, so it has a different cellular target. And again, if you're not sure about how all these medications work, etc., we do have a really useful booklet, which you can download off the website, because of course we can't get it out to you at the moment because there's nobody here to do that. So do have a look at our medicines booklet if you're not sure about what sort of medication your RA medication is. But yes, there has been some talk about it being used in China for treating COVID-19. It's too early to say at this point whether it's having an impact. But again, soon as some of that research is available, we'll be posting it up on our website again. Blood monitoring. This is a question that came up last week as well. People are concerned that usually you're going for monthly blood monitoring. We know already that some of that monthly blood monitoring is being spaced out, so maybe you only need to go every 3 or 4 months. If your bloods have been fairly stable for quite some time and your RA is well controlled, you'll probably be notified that you don't need to go on a monthly basis, and you will be safe if your RA is being well controlled. Again, different, the way bloods are monitored. Some people have to go into the hospital, some people get their bloods done at GP centres. So it will be very different as to what's being adopted around the country. But at this point, that's probably not top priority, is to be doing the blood monitoring, unless you've got unstable, uncontrolled RA, and then it probably is more important. But again, wherever you normally get your bloods monitored is probably the best place to find out what's happening on that. Let me see what else. I've talked about the letters already, so I'll move on from that. Children with juvenile idiopathic arthritis. Again, there's been this feeling that children are not as badly affected by COVID as adults. But of course, if you've got a child with an autoimmune condition, that puts a slightly different slant on it. The best information we've found so far has come out of the Scottish Paediatric and Adolescent Rheumatology Network. And again, we've got the link on the website for that. So if you have a child with JIA and you're concerned, please do have a look at that site as well. The other support that we're offering, again, our helpline has been absolutely swamped. And I'd like to acknowledge very publicly how incredibly proud I am of our helpline staff and the rest of the staff that are helping them out as well, for coping with the huge deluge, which is exactly why we're here. But we've not been able to deal with this sort of level in the past. But we are coping. If you leave a message, we will do our very best to get back to you within a reasonable time. So do keep contacting us. And I will repeat our number at the end. But we do have an 0800 number, but it's probably best if you phone on 01628 823 524, and then it's option 3 to get through to the helpline. The reason I'm suggesting that one is it actually keeps our costs down as well. So if you can help on that side, that'd be brilliant. But as well, to support many of you who are self-isolating, being shielded, social distancing, etc., it can be a very anxious, worrying time. And sometimes you just really want to be able to talk, especially if you're having to be on your own, if you don't have anybody else living at home with you. And so to address the concerns of so many of you in that field, or you're just feeling rather anxious and you want to talk to somebody else who, as I like to say, has been there, seen that, because it's somebody else living with rheumatoid arthritis who really does understand why this is having such an impact on you. We are today launching a new service. It's called Here For You. It's a new service that you'll be able to self-refer through our website, explaining what time would be best for you to have a call. And it's really to give you some certainty in these uncertain times. It's more about giving support to each other. So the volunteers have all been given some training around what they can, can't say, etc. But they're not going to be medical trained like ourselves, but they just will be able to share some tips and tricks and techniques of how to deal with being isolated but still maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So you can refer, as I said, online. What will happen then is a member of NRAS staff will match you with a volunteer, and then the volunteer will be getting in contact with you. And I will reiterate that the volunteers are not medically qualified and will not be able to give you any medical advice about COVID-19, but will be able to sort of share what they're doing to keep themselves safe. And sometimes just that peer support can be really, really helpful in trying to reduce that feeling of anxiety and isolation. And because you're not alone. I'm alone in here at the moment, but you're all not alone. We're here every step of the way for you. And while you might not physically have anybody around you, you have lots and lots of people that are here to help and support you through this difficult time. The other thing was about keeping yourself fit and exercising as much as you can. Of course, you can't go down to the gym. The gyms are all shut. You don't want to be going. And if you are shielding, if you're in that high risk category, we really shouldn't even be, going out and for a walk down the street or jogging. But, you can do so much to keep yourself fit at home. And on our website, in the lifestyle section, you'll see there's a whole raft of videos there to show you exercises that you can do in your chair while you're waiting for the kettle to boil, while Coronation Street's on, or whatever. There's lots of things you can do, just, going up and down the stairs a few times, or doing some leg lifts, some strengthening exercises that you can do even wearing, with a scarf or something, or some resistance bands. Lots to keep yourself doing. And I think one of the important things that I heard on the radio is get into a routine. If you're used to going out to work at 8:30 in the morning and coming home at 5 o'clock, try and schedule things into your day so that you're not just thinking, well, now what will I do? So even write out a schedule for yourself that, right, between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, I'm going to do some emails. And then at 11 o'clock, I'm going to have a coffee and read a magazine, and actually plan out your day rather than just floating around the house in your PJs. And get up and get dressed as well. It is so easy to just flop around in your dressing gown. And that's great for a day or two. But if you're doing that for 12 weeks, it can have an impact on your mental health and your emotional health. So, set yourself some challenges. What I'd love to hear from you, all of you, what have you been doing? What's some fun stuff have you decided to do to keep yourself positive? What's the oldest thing you've found in the back of the cupboard in the kitchen now that you've had the time to really get all those jars and tins out? I will admit I cleaned out the fridge here in the office the other day, and there was something in there from 2018. So I'm sure you can beat that. How are you keeping in touch with your family and friends when you can't see them? Are you doing sing-alongs at home? Those sorts of things. There's lots of support and information, and new things are springing up. And I think it's great that people are showing such initiative around doing that. So share with us, get those mobile phones out, show us what you're doing, post it on our Facebook page, encourage others to do similar, tweet and share this information as far as wide as possible. I will do my very best to do another live session next week if I can, depending on where we are. If I'm able to get in here, we've got a better broadband, and as long as I'm still able to get the short distance in here to the office, I will do it from here. But if I can do it from home, I certainly will. And just finally, we have a webinar going to be happening on Monday evening, Monday at 7 p.m. A webinar with Dr. Lizzie McPhee, who is has been involved in the BSR, developing the BSR guidelines on I'm losing my train of thought here, on the COVID-19 stratification as to who's in high risk, etc. And so do please sign up to take part in the webinar. It's a bit different to our Facebook Lives, etc. But that's on our website. Again, you'll see it on the right at the very beginning on our homepage, but you can sign up for the webinar 7 p.m. on Monday the 30th. We won't be able to answer live questions, but I will be putting your questions to Lizzie, and she will be doing her very best to make sense of all this information that's coming out from all different directions. So please do join us for the webinar then. Let me just check my notes if I've got anything else to tell you. Yes, of course, like any other business, like any other organisation, this whole pandemic has really hit us hard as a charity. And if you're able, and only if you're able, to support us in any way, it would be much appreciated. Every small donation is welcomed. You should be able to see a donate button either down there somewhere or up there, depending on whether you're on a mobile phone or another device. So please do support us if you can. If you're finding NRAS for the first time, do think about joining. Joining our society gives us a much stronger voice so that we can campaign and advocate for you on your behalf with the stakeholders. Now, I'm hoping that by next week I will have a lot more information about how this all impacts on employment. I was going to address some of it today, but honestly, things are changing so much, and I know there's going to be some information coming out later today from government on self-employment. So we'll try our best to do some bit more research, get all our ducks in a row, so that I can bring you information about how this pandemic may be impacting your employment and your rights, etc. So do bear with us. And thank you again for everybody joining us. I've seen lots of comments coming up on the Facebook. I've seen comments going on the YouTube. Thank you to my colleagues for helping me to do this today, especially Shivam, who is our producer, director, cameraman, soundman, everything out there. So thank you for your help, and stay safe. We will get through this. So just to conclude, I'd like to thank you for your consideration of our hard-working staff here that are trying our best to help you. Most people have been incredibly grateful for our help and support. I know there are some frustrations. but please don't take it out on our staff or your health professionals. They're under huge pressure as well. Tonight at 8 o'clock, remember, if you can stand on a balcony or in your garden or by the window and applaud our NHS staff. They are doing the most amazing work under huge pressures. So I wish you all a safe passage through these turbulent times. And a little comment that I heard last night on the One Show, which I thought was brilliant. While we're all stuck inside, we can all stand up for the world while sitting on your bum. Have a safe and non-eventful time through this turbulent time. And hopefully I'll see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Thank you.